Hola, buenas tardes, buenos días.
Hello, good afternoon, or good day. It's a pleasure to be here with you again for this third day of the online event. I would like to thank all of those who've been with us for so many days, and I would also like to welcome those who are arriving here for the first day. We are extremely happy about the content that we have been offering in this couple of days. So I would like to congratulate Marta, Salva, and the Ivanov team for their technical know-how and the quality of the presentation, as well as everything that we're seeing here in this webinar. So we have gone over the unknown types of Barcelona with African descendants. We have went from the local to the university to the universal by mapping different festivals around Catalonia. We will have the final chapter of this in towards the end of the session today. And we've also heard from projects in Latin America, in Canada. We've had the vision of what's going on in Europe. And so this going from the local to the university, universal is not that common, and I think it's pretty interesting. These contacts will be available for all of you through our website. We have a YouTube channel where you can watch this contents again if you wish. We also have an archive for the Grec festival where you can have some of the content. And in the channel itself, you will find the video clips of the artistic productions we have been presenting, because this has been done along with the productions of those who are going to be at the festival. And for those who cannot come along, until the 21st of July, you can still enjoy some of the video clips of some productions. Here you have the links. And Agrupación Señor Serrano is for children, Cabo San Roque, an audio guide for supermarkets. You can download it in English and go to your town supermarkets and enjoy this artistic proposal. And then we also have some chapters that Rodrigo Garcia has built several chapters entitled Funny or Weird Things and that you can enjoy from wherever you are this summer. And so let me invite you to delve on the program, to watch the videos from prior days, and to wish you a wonderful session today. And let me give the floor now to the next speaker, to Marta. Hello, good afternoon. Welcome you all. Good afternoon. Today's session is entitled Governance, Mobility, and Territory. We continue with the territory, and we're now opening up with a new program called Reshape. We've added the North Africa Cultural Mobility Map. Pau Cata is going to give you a hint of how we can map the experiences and initiatives these days. So Melika, Pau, you have the floor.
Thank you, Marta. Thank you, Cesc, and to the whole Grec team. I'm really happy to be here virtually, although I would really prefer to be there with you physically as well. But hopefully there'll be other occasions to do that. So my name is Milica Ilic. I am the coordinator of the Reshape project, and I'm here with Pau, that I can't see on my little, I see Pau on my little screen, who is here with me also to present the Reshape project. So the way we will do this is that I will just start off by giving a few basic pieces of information around Reshape, on what it is and what it does. And then I'll pass the floor to Pau, who will get into more details also as somebody who was participating very actively in the project and in the construction of its prototypes. You'll hear more about it. I also just maybe to say that I know that a lot of you here in this virtual room are thinking about reinventing our practices as the art sector, reimagining new ways of working, perhaps prompted also by the current sanitary situation. And so I hope that this project will be something of an inspiration, or at least that it will propose some tools that you might want to use in this process. So maybe we'll start with that. Pau, do you have anything to add before I start?
No. You can start.
Okay. So I'm going to start by sharing my screen. So I hope this works. Let me see if it does. Okay. All right. So you should be seeing. I hope you are seeing our PowerPoint presentation. So about Reshape. Reshape is it's a European funded project, but above that, it's also a process that is seeking to radically rethink and reinvent organizational models for the art sector. It was launched 3 years ago by a group of cultural organizations that are all intermediary structures, meaning organizations that support the art scene in their own environment, in their own countries or their own regions. That was the initial kind of group, but it quickly grew to involve a number of actors, mostly from the independent art scenes, from geographic Europe and Southern Mediterranean, and you'll be hearing more about it later on. It started as an analysis, or from an analysis that sees the sector as somehow deeply immersed in practices that are just not sustainable anymore. I'm sure that most of you know what this concerns. Our economic, political, social, ecological context has evolved tremendously in the last decades, and the artistic practices have evolved tremendously. And yet, somehow we base our work on practices and on institutional frameworks that do not take these changes into account. So the question that Reshape wanted to ask from the onset is, how can we reimagine our ways of working and the tools and the instruments that we use, that we give ourselves for this? And then how we can, as a sector, secure our own survival and hopefully our thriving by being more in tune with the society and with the artistic practices. So Reshape, to answer these questions, Reshape is really looking at two important premises. One or two important ideas. One is that in order to tackle these problems, in order to come up with solutions, knowing that these problems are global, we also need a global perspective, or we need a transnational perspective. We need to get out of our nation-state framework that we are all immersed in, and somehow work together across larger territories and take into account very diverse contexts to be able to come up with common solutions. So that's the one premise. First of all, we need to work together transnationally in order to reach solutions. The second premise is that this attempt to redefine the practices, this attempt to come up with joint solutions has to be led by actors from the ground. So those that are in fact experimenting, those that are in fact that have expertise in experimenting with alternative models. So what Reshape went on to do is to, first of all, identify and highlight the initiatives, the organizations, the individuals that are already experimenting with alternative models of organization in our sector. That's the one important thing, and we now have a sort of an inventory of alternative practices that you can find on the Reshape website. And the other important point that we worked on for the past 3 years is that Reshape set up an experimental process in which artists and activists from Europe, geographic Europe, importantly, not political Europe, and Southern Mediterranean, came together and worked together. Something I know Pau doesn't really agree with this definition, but they were engaged as something as innovation experts to propose solutions, radical solutions for the challenges of our sector. And when I say solutions, I mean concrete, sustainable, and realistic ideas that can help advance the challenges in our sector. And these ideas are then proposed and discussed and tested and spread throughout the broader sector. So the process that Reshape proposed is really a bottom-up process, and it's highly collaborative. It's also really dense and intensive, as Pau will certainly testify. And somehow the only way we knew how to make it happen is by being a community, by agreeing on common values, and then building a methodology from scratch. It is really a research and development project that is being built together throughout the process. So Reshape is now a community of 60 plus or 70 plus actors from all over Europe and Southern Mediterranean, all of which are actively working on reshaping our sector's tools and models. And so now we have come to almost the end of the project. The resulting proposals are there. There are proposals that are published on the website and will be published in a book in the coming days. There are the proposals that you can find on our website are hugely diverse. So I will not spend a lot of time talking about them because they are really, some of them are very practical, some of them are very reflective. They are very different one from the other. But if I can pull a red thread across all of these ideas, I can say that they're all playful, they're all poetic, and they are all very ambitious. And they all speak of a transition towards a different kind of society and a different kind of sector, which would be complementary to that society. And they all propose incentives for this transition to happen. You will hear from Pau some information on one of those prototypes, but I also invite you to look at the others, to read through them, but also adapt them to your own circumstances, use them for your future actions. They're also there for that, and they certainly require new allies and champions to help us all go towards a real transition. So, Pau, over to you, and Pau will be telling you a bit more information on one of those prototypes and one of the groups, in particular, the one who was looking at the question of transnational and post-national artistic practices. So, Pau.
Thank you, Milica, for these great presentations, and also quite ambitious. As you can see, the commission or the selection to be part of this network wasn't a joke at all. It was something really quite serious and quite a challenge, no? I would say. I don't know if you want to put the first slide, Milica. It was quite a challenge, and this is the first image that you have here is one of the spaces where we spend quite a lot of time. One of the formats, which is like this kind of like circle discussing about this topic, no, which is on trans and post-national artistic practices. I'm really happy that we are doing this presentation in the context of Grec, and the Grec is focusing on the African continent, because actually the mobility between Africa and Europe is one of an example of the many issues and the many problems that exist in artistic and research mobility. An example of that would be the development of this project, the North Africa Cultural Mobility Map. I cannot really explain the whole process because we don't have that much time, but feel free to check the website, and if you want more information, you can contact me at this link here. Basically, the North Africa Cultural Mobility Map was created in 2016 and 17 to give a response or an answer to a lack of understanding, a lack of knowledge, a lack of visibility of several spaces that existed and still exist in the North Africa region. So as a coordinator of an artist in residency program, I was really interested on building the gap between kind of like, the artistic practices, in this case from Catalonia and others in North Africa. And the project that came out from this need is the North Africa Cultural Mobility Map, which was a network actually that was developed together with several spaces, like this Buit in Marrakech, Atelier Observatoire in Casablanca, Gizeh here in Barcelona and Tunis, and many others. There is kind of like more than 40 interviews, more than like 70 spaces mapped. Also there is resources section and also funding. So please feel free to navigate through it and to, if you haven't done yet, to establish kind of like these dialogues with all these spaces which are developing really amazing projects. The North Africa Cultural Mobility Map was not out of problems, and one of the, no, it's okay, you can pass the next slide. It was not out of problems, obviously. The name itself was put into question because of its meaning, no? What does it mean, North Africa, who's being excluded and included when we talk about North Africa, no? What does it mean, cultural mobility? And again, the privilege that some of us have to be somehow hypermobile, not now with this kind of context of a pandemic, but before, I guess, kind of like many of you experience, no? This impression of kind of like moving from conference to conference or residency to residency without having a real impact, no, in the local context. And the counterbalance of that is, as this photography here shows by Adrian Pazzi, is this impossibility of being mobile, no? The impossibility of lots of people that cannot access this mobility. So as you can see, we were confronted in the context of Reshape to these kind of like quite massive problems. We were somehow at the start a little bit overwhelmed for many reasons, no? One is because kind of like giving answer to these problems is nothing easy. And the second is because we didn't know each other, the 7 members of the trans and post-national trajectory, we didn't know each other. So what we did, and maybe we can go to the next slide. What we did was, first of all, to get together in our first meeting in Lublin, where we mapped the different experiences, no? The experiences that each of us had in relation to trans and post-national mobility. These experiences were really diverse, obviously, and were really rich. And this became kind of like the ground from where starting to develop kind of like a more consistent discourse that we wanted to propose as a solution, no? Instead of, as Milica said, instead of starting from the top, no, the top down, we really wanted to kind of like get to know each other better, get to kind of establish, no, these synergies between ourselves. So we started to develop these micro actions that were expanding time, in the sense that the several meetings that we did all around Europe, in Lublin, in Copenhagen, in Istanbul, or in Cluj, they were presential, but we wanted also to expand that, no, in a manner that would enhance this chrono-diversity, no? To do that, we decided to do these micro actions, micro rituals. One of them is as simple as this one here, which is like a box, a traveling box that we were sending to amongst us, with several actions that we could do. These actions normally related to our involvement or our understanding of our local communities. And then they also include some actions and some exercises that the other person that would receive the box would do. That would become then just kind of like this box that at the end, at the last meeting that we will have in Zagreb, we would open and we would find kind of like all these several interactions and create these empathies as well. Another ritual, which is totally different than this one, is the next one, which is this that was proposed by Ingrid, one of the members of the trajectory, which was again as simple but also as quite magical as to just kind of like have some time to stop, to close your computer, to not answer emails, not being in Zooms but looking at a plant. That's it. No, looking for 10 minutes at a plant for like around 10 days and see what you could learn from this plant, no? And establish some kind of like a conversation with this plant, and then document that with several kind of like photos or like voice messages or like text. Believe it or not, this is quite, I mean, I'm not a yoga person, sadly, but this kind of like really helped me to focus actually, and to kind of like have another understanding of what was surrounding me at that moment. So this is something that was pretty amazing. This is kind of like only two of the several kind of like actions that we did to build up this community and this trust and this friendship amongst us. But obviously that wasn't enough. We had to kind of like come up with a prototype, as Reshape was asking for. And then it was from here that we started to map, or somehow, how could you say that? Yeah, just kind of like investigate in some of the issues that were affecting, in our understanding, post-national mobility. I'm not gonna, I mean, there is no time to explain that. If you want, we can have other Zooms in other times, but I'm gonna go like really fast through this kind of this slide here. The issues that we consider key in trans and post-national mobility are these ones here: hypermobility in one aspect. The other one would be homogeneization, which is kind of like which kind of artistic practices, or what we understand for artistic practices, you know, in this like pluriverse world that we are living in, and this kind of somehow westernization of the art world, and how we can enhance diversity, you know, and hence kind of like totally different and radical ways of looking at creativity. Exclusion, I already explained a little bit about this, who has the privilege of being part of this art system. And in relation to all that, also ecological neglect, which is the ecological impact that we have by this kind of constant traveling. In order to approach these issues, what we did was, and in relation to the rituals that we did before, these rituals were kind of like enhancing different senses not in the sense of like smelling, touching, or looking at things, but other kind of senses. So we try to develop these other senses, which are like sense of place, sense of multiplicity, sense of connection, sense of generosity, and sense of break. This is all explained in a manual that is also in the website of Reshape, so feel free to have a look. But what we wanted, obviously this can sound a little bit abstract, what we wanted was to kind of really root all these kind of like this link, no, between issues and senses into something really practical. This practicality, we found it in something that it might sound a little bit esoteric, but it's, well, it is actually esoteric, because esotericism at the end of the day is to look inwards, no? So, so yeah, we decided to adopt the tarot as a means to enhance these senses and to start looking for solutions to this to these issues. And yeah, this is it. What was interesting is that for several reasons, like not only us focus on our trajectory, focus on the tarot, but another trajectory, as you can see here, Governance of the Possible was another group that was also developing a tarot card, a tarot deck. So kind of like we joined forces, and we commissioned to several designers and artists from all around Europe and the Mediterranean to design these cards, which were actually obviously kind of like we changed the name of the archetypes in order to relate them to the artistic context, no? So yeah, we come up with this a tarot deck to reshape the arts, which is this one here. And then, yeah, we can go to the next slide, where we will find just some examples of kind of like what we did with these cards. There's again no time to explain kind of like how it works, but I'm happy to contact, or that you contact me for further information. But just to tell you that it has been surprisingly magic, sorry to use that word, but it has been kind of like really wonderful. All the process of testing the prototype, because as Milica said, we are now testing this. And in order to test it, what we have done is like several workshops with several events or institutions. For example, the Focus Dance Lyon Biennale in France, the Ruida International Programming Meeting in Belgium, Tiger in Slovenia, and also Alta and Cross Attic in Czech Republic. As part of these archetypes, some of them are linked to certain rituals. Again, these rituals can be as simple as looking at a plan for like 10 minutes a day for 10 days, or something much more complex, where we kind of like try to engage with the colonial and also feminist theory and practice. And yeah, there is kind of like also several ways to read this tarot. For example, there is a workshop that lasts only for 2 hours. And then you do kind of like this kind of like reading, collaborative reading. But also there is another case, which is kind of like a reading that lasted for 8 hours, which means kind of 4 sessions of 2 hours each, because this is meant to be something that is totally collaborative. And the rituals can be quite a lot of work. So this is the case of the workshop that we did with the Artists in Residency Research Network, which we are gonna further implement in the Sari Well, which is, I guess some of you know, it is a residency in Finland. I think that I'm on time. It's like 5, so maybe the last there's a last slide. Well, this is kind of like another mind mapping that we did. As you can see, can be more creative. This is like done by Angela Serino, the proposal of Angela Serino, which is looking at permaculture as a way of understanding kind of like a way of where we can learn to kind of like interact with our peers and with the artistic act differently. And yeah, I think that's it. There is, I think, a last slide, hopefully, which is this one. No, this is the tarot deck. If you want, as Milica said, you want to have more information, please have a look at the Reshape network website or contact us at info@Reshape network. I'm going to leave it here in case there is some questions, because it would be wonderful to hear a little bit more about your thoughts, what if this presentation or this kind of like prototype is inspiring you in any sense. So I don't know, Milica, if you want to say something else.
Maybe just to add that we are now, as you said, and I mentioned earlier, we are now in the testing phase. So there is still a bit of time and resources. If some of you are interested in organizing a group reading of the tarot, that's possible to do. You can just contact us and we'll find a good moment for that to happen, because we are really trying to test out different formats of reading with different groups in different environments. So that's a good possibility to do that. And also there's one of the colleague Reshapers that is doing online personalized, personal readings. So that's also a possibility. And again, as I said before, please check out the other prototypes. I think a lot of them can be inspirational.
Thank you. Now, I think that you and another girl from Bilbao, you are the 2 only Spanish members, no? Reshapers.
Yeah, absolutely. And I forgot to say that Get Institute is also organizing a reading in collaboration with Marina, which is from the Basque country. And this is going to happen in September. So you are all more than welcome to participate. So yeah, it's me and Marina.
Okay.
Pau, do you think this could work for South America, like Spanish-speaking people, or for Brazil?
Absolutely, totally. It's multi-language, and it's yes, absolutely. Yeah, and it would be great because as you have seen, the testing that we have done until now is happening in more an European context, although in the case of the Lyon Biennale, there was people from Brazil, I think, and from the South America. But yes, it's now time to test it also, like in totally other contexts. So that would be wonderful, in fact.
So someone want to ask a questions to Milica and Pau? All the links are on the chat: Reshape, Tarot, Pau, Mobility Map. So, okay. So thank you for coming. And I hope that somebody has the valor to organize the Tarot meeting. It will be nice and funny. Thank you very much.
Absolutely, yes. Thanks to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Salva, si et sembla.
Great, Salva. So, video on, please.
Un susto.
Saute par-dessus son ombre. Nul ne saute par-dessus sa source. Nul ne saute par-dessus la vulve de sa mère.
molt bé apuntàvem abans, portem anant del global al local.
Okay, as we said, we are moving from the global to the local and the other way around, and now we are moving into our local ecosystem. 3 groups we have in the city of Barcelona, which also include people from outside of Barcelona. This is the collective of producers, distributors, and companies. Let's begin with the producers. Gracia and Gala, the floor, well, the screen is yours. Let me tell you a bit. We were producers working independently. It's a slightly lonely kind of job, and we started meeting in different festivals, and we met at Fira Tárrega, and we said, hey, any producers around here? Let's go for a beer. And we realized, of course, as expected, that we shared the same kind of needs, concerns, difficulties, a very similar vision on the industry and on our work, and we decided to extend it and to make our group known so that others could join us. And then we created a WhatsApp group where we can have mutual support. We ask for information, we provide advice, we send and share ads. And we started with an initial statement, a sort of a mission statement. We share some values. We could have not shared them, but I mean, we did, like caring and listening and sharing. And one of the needs we identified was that we wanted to have more producers who are properly trained and who understand the industry, who were stage arts or performing arts producers, because there are other kinds of technical trainings, but we wanted something more specific for our industry. And as we were producers, we decided, hey, let's do it, let's go for it. And Gala will tell you a bit more about this experience and how things went from there. Well, one of the purposes was to get training during the first lockdown. This network grew a lot. We set up a number of committees, and one of them was the committee on education, to try and put together some kind of education. We decided to do it ourselves. We are producers, that's why. So we decided to do it ourselves instead of going through the institutional way. So we run a first pilot project to have the experience to propose what we wanted to do without anyone deciding for us. We decided ourselves. And the first edition was run in January 2021. We had 18 students. It lasted for 3 months, January to February 2020. 2021 says, yes, of course, 21. And then voluntary professional practice, a sort of a scholarship. So 18 students, one of them had a grant. Now Ivanov and Fabra Coats gave us their support. Fabra Coats hosted the in-person training. Fortunately enough, we were able to run the workshops in person, 3 hours a day for 3 days a week, and about 20 trainers. We didn't have any specific subject, but rather each session was on a single topic. It was a monographic session. Training was offered by those who are members of this network, and they presented their point of view, giving a very professional perspective of what they do, because we do all have different experiences, and we have seen the experience from different angles, and that's what we could offer. We could provide different tools and different ways of looking at the profession of producing. And besides this training committee, there was somebody else, Teresa Petit. She was the person in charge of the follow-up with students, and they are currently doing some trainee sessions. We are preparing the next edition, which will be done with the same conditions, same number of participants, roughly. We are reviewing what worked and what did not work last year, and we are also in touch with the former participants who are providing their feedback so that we can improve the course. And basically for us, it's been a fantastic experience because we did need this kind of education. We tested it. The students are really happy. They have created their own network too, as if this feeling of a network of producers who are willing to help each other, share resources and so on, this has been passed down on to them, and we're really proud that they took this over from us. I think that's all. Your website is in, our website is in the chat. So if you want to have a look at the declaration of intent, and our mission is there, and you have further information on the training there too. And right now, this WhatsApp group includes over 100 producers, just to give you an idea. As member of this chat, let me say that it is the best WhatsApp chat in the world. Extremely generous, honest, loving. Anytime a problem comes up, it is solved in a matter of seconds. The chat is creating an impressive database of all kinds of things. We have 5 companies that do PCR tests from the most expensive to the cheapest one. So being a member of this group is one of the most exquisite things that I've done in my life. Let me say that, because the human quality that we can see coming through is fabulous. And this is one of the things that we don't always do that well in our profession. And regarding the workshop, Sana, one of the students of this training and education, she's been hyperactive in these 3 days of Grec Pro. She's been extremely attentive, and today I asked her to participate, but she is out in the street. She doesn't have a good connection where she is, but she's sending her greetings. And if anyone would like to test if the course is good or not, I mean, she's going to be available to answer any questions you might have. And without further ado, let me thank you, girls, for your comments, and let's now move on to the second group called Al Collectiu, the collective, the group. And Rocío and Aleix and Rocío, the screen is yours. Thank you very much. We are Aleix Fauro and Rocío Manzano. We are members of 2 companies that are part of El Colectivo. Aleix will tell you more about who we are, and I will tell you more about where we stand and what we are currently doing. And we will leave just a minute at the end in case you have any questions or whatever. And we'll leave you our website so that you can have a look while you listen to us, and we can in that way hyperlink. Okay. The collective of company was created over 7 years ago, in a very spontaneous way, a little bit out of the blue, with the idea of sharing the concerns and the issues that we see in the field of theater, first in Barcelona, then we extended that across Catalonia. Competition is fierce, and this was born in a meeting with representatives from 9 companies. We now have 100 companies. That means over 300 workers overall. We share experiences, we share as many resources as we can, and we try to, well, we have become in the last few years an active agent that lobbies in private and public institutions. Our first obsession was to change the paradigm of competition. We wanted to turn that competition into collaboration, and the proof that this did work and that we were right in our beliefs. There were 9 theater companies at the start. Now there are 100 different sizes, different groups, and the purpose is to work from category A or B. A meaning an active company, which is a member of the assembly and participates in the commissions, and B category means that they sign the manifesto. You will find it on our website, and they more or less follow our guidelines. So these are a set of basic guidelines that we agreed on to work together and to try and build our concerns and our demands. And Rocío will tell you more about where we stand at the moment. For us, it was really important to have a meeting point. Now we're doing that digitally rather than in person, but we wanted to find a common ground where we demand a different way of doing things. We demand a distribution of economic resources that is a little bit more equitable across Catalonia, and we want to be caring rather than other things. You were talking about your chat. We have like 3,000 different chats with all the commissions and committees. Sometimes it's a bit of a mess, but we always manage to find solutions through colleagues from other companies. And we believe that the fact that we have companies with diverse backgrounds, some of them are specialists in one kind of theater and others are specialists in other kinds of theater. So this is very enriching because it brings many different points of views to the table. We have participated in the framework plan for the theater. We're really proud of that. Let's hope it is implemented someday. We are asked when new subsidy lines are being defined, when new conditions are being created and drafted. And we believe that what we are doing is essential to change the landscape and the way things have been working for so long, because we believe that it doesn't quite represent properly the theater sector in Catalonia. Right now, where do we stand? Well, these times are definitely marked by the pandemic. We went from 40 to 100. It means that during the pandemic, we worked really hard, but it was very tiring. We want to make also, well, we want to explain and to make people understand that things entail some challenges. It's not only, or not everything you see is nice and shiny. We need to work hard. And if we want to have a group that is representative and democratic and that complies with the values that we want, so if we want this alignment between theory and practice, well, it takes hard work. And besides the self-analysis and seeing how everything works internally, one of the issues in our profession was to move from being paid on the basis of what you get from the ticket box or having a fixed fee. And this was a claim that we have had for a long time. And basically, we started with a campaign called 70/30. The idea was, okay, if we are only getting paid through the box office income, we are taking much more risks than the theaters themselves. So let's spread the risk more fairly. We started with a 70/30 campaign, and we are kind of like moving towards this fixed fee model. So we are fighting with the theaters, and we're also lobbying decision makers, basically taking our voice, because in the end, we are independent companies. Well, there are all kinds of companies, some that are just starting from scratch right now, others are well established, and the theaters that cannot pay for this fixed fees, well, let's see how we can make some kind of arrangements and accommodations, but the idea is not for us to be always taking the short end of the stick. Our group is a place where you can share resources, where you can, I don't know, cater for things and look after things. For instance, what happened with sexual abuse in the world of theater, anything that has an emotional impact for us. This is a go-to place just to find some support. I think that there's also a generational change of paradigm. I think we're putting the focus elsewhere, not only not competing but cooperating, but also looking at the industry from a different perspective. We're also having the idea that culture is a right, something we're entitled to, and not a business, and we want to create a new set of values. Culture is a right and not a business, and we're also networking a lot, not only in terms of political lobbying, but also I don't know, establishing dialogues with, for instance, with the producers network, with other professionals associations, both in the city and in the state, in Catalonia. And we believe that collaboration has to go beyond companies, but to have a wider gaze of the whole industry, and that's what we do. So if you have any questions, just type it in the chat or just have a look at our group. I really advise you to visit their website, really. You will see the ecosystem of companies that we have in the theater, these like handmade companies that very often well, are different from those that are created and mushroom here and then they vanish the next after the end of the production. And I don't know, it's really interesting because they have a really interesting website. It works pretty well, so I invite you to have a look at it. Thank you very much, Rocío, Aleix. Don't leave it at that. Keep on working. You're doing really well. So let's go now to the third group, Vicens and Alba. This is the third leg of the table. We've seen producers, distributors, companies. So go ahead. These are the distributors. Alba, we are the group of Catalonia Performing Arts Distributors Collective. I think we are the youngest group. We have members from all ages and all kinds of backgrounds. Some people who've been having their own company for many, many years doing distribution. Others work in stable companies and they work as for a company as employees. We also started with a chat group. We believe that it's one of the kindest and funniest things we have, because whenever there is one doubt, one question, everyone answers and we help each other. We offer advice, we share calls for whatever, we share bad practices or cases that are shocking and we've encountered around the world. So we got together in a way to give more dignity to our profession as distributors. Very often this is not taken into account. The companies tend to say they want someone as a distributor when they want to premiere their show, and we believe that the relationship between the companies and distributors should start at the time the show starts to be devised.
Because that's the way we think things should go. And of course, this job needs to be paid, and there are many ways to do so, you know, with different percentages or with a fixed wage. That's the point. We would like to offer a salary to everyone, so not depending on commissions anymore, but it's a relation that lasts for a long time with a company. And this is something that need to be fostered and enhanced. We, the distributors, we know the market, we know the industry, we have the connections, we know where to go, we know what doors to knock on, depending on the different specialties. And that's why we have this best practice handbook. It's actually uploaded on our website, so you might want to check it out, just to explain what we do and the job that we do and how we want to do a good job, and really we want to share it and explain it the way, well, it deserves to be explained. Vicente? Yes, we are not a distribution platform. This is very clear. We're a group that fights for the rights of the distributors. That needs to be crystal clear. If you want a distributor, there's a page on our website with the members that have actually signed the handbook and they have implemented it, and then you can contact them. But we fight for the rights of the distributors. That's what we do. We got together because we realized that in order for an outcome to be visible, a year can go by. So you cannot add, precarious situations to more precarious situations. We cannot have people working for free for a year. So we need to lobby the institutions so that the distributors can be part of the structure or some structure, so the companies can apply for money to manage this from some place. And somehow some companies have a distribution company and maybe they don't need it and they can go for self-distribution. So we try to also educate and train the companies so that they can self-manage until the moment comes when they can hire someone. This monthly fee is key for us, and that would depend, of course, that would depend on an agreement between the company and the distributor. But we need people to be, well, getting a salary. People cannot just work for free for a year to see if there are any gigs a year down the line. So that's a global thing, and we need to be together and really fight for proper jobs and proper salaries for distributors, for companies, for production companies. And the institutions need to understand that maybe we need to change some things. We need to change the way in which we do things, the way in which we distribute money and grants, or the way in which grants and subsidies are devised. So that's what we do. Yes, and we want to be taken into consideration as interlocutors. I refer to the institutions now. When it comes to grants, to improving the presence of a distributor, we want to be their interlocutors. And we are grateful because they count on us and we are present, more often in the different processes, but we want to be consulted in relation to fairs and markets, which is our working methodology. So we want to be consulted before things are decided, because we have the expertise and we are open. Actually, most of our members are women, and that's why I'm using the female pronouns. So we're open to any bonds and ties. We are in close relationship with now Ivanov to collaborate, because training is okay, but labor, precariousness, that's not ideal. I mean, we cannot fight for a job if this job is not fair, is not proper. So we need to fight together, because we will make it. I'm sure in the end we will make it. Yes, and there's a lot of demand in terms of distributors. There is demand. And most companies just don't understand this fact that, it's okay, but this job needs to be paid. And this needs to be discussed from the beginning. We need a lot of pedagogy to really, forget about this idea that we are predators. No, I'm a good person, and she's a good person too. So people who still think about that when they think about a distributor, no, forget about that. Think of Alba and myself. It's not true. Thank you, Alba. Thank you, Vicente. I'm a boomer generation member in terms of distributors. So I'm very grateful for everything you've done. I hope you go back to ethics and generosity and honesty, which is the backbone of our job. No, I was not referring to the chat or the handbook, not just in terms of text. I was referring to what we do. And I see that you are ambassadors or guarantors of best practices, and that's very necessary in the relationship between artists and distributors. And there's something that I wanted to add. Yes, we are not predators. We're not vultures, as you put it, but we, of course, don't work for free either. So our work needs to be paid, and well, our job needs to be respected because we devote time and love and wisdom for a project to really see the light. So that deserves a salary. So congratulations, you presented a great landscape about our producers, our companies, and our distributors. It's very beautiful, a landscape. So if you agree, we'll move on to the next session with this video introduction. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Pinto les notes d'una venera blava com l'aigua d'un mar antic. What is freedom for you? What is freedom for you? What it really means to be free. I don't feel free when I am on the street. With all your eyes looking at me, deciding who I am or not. What it really means to be free when I don't know who I am anymore. And you question my identity till I feel like I'm living in limbo. I am who I am. I'm gonna be free. I deserve to be free. Las alamedas se van, pero nos dejan el viento. Las alamedas se van, pero dejan su reflejo. Las alamedas se van, pero nos dejan el viento. Pero flotando sobre los ríos, sus ecos, sobre los ríos. Las alamedas se van, ya se van, ya se van. Ella, ella.
Marta, estàs mutejada.
Marta, you are muted. Oh, so many things to do. Okay, so we are approaching the final session for today, territory and creation, Terres de l'Ebre, Vallès, Occidental, and Urgell. These are the three counties that we will be focusing on today. We start with the Euphonic Festival and Vicent Fibla. Vicent, the floor is yours. Yes, I represent the Euphonic Festival from Terres de l'Ebre, and we have a video for you to see by way of introduction.
Gràcies, ja heu vist l'efecte glitch.
Thank you. So you saw the effect with different movements. Euphonic is a festival organized in the south of Catalonia, 200 miles down south from Barcelona. It's the 10th edition this year. And of course, it's an edition, well, defined by the pandemic. Last year, we did hold it. Euphonic, well, hosts a lot of music, but it's not a musical festival. It's a visual arts, performing arts, sound actions and activities, very powerful connection with the landscape. We use 9 different villages. We have San Carles de la Rápita as the core, but then there are other 8 towns with different installations, performances, and different shows with this idea of connecting with the environment. End of the summer, 20th to 29th of August this year. So we combine exhibition and performances. Exhibition in terms of artistic installations in different spaces. There's an art center, the museum in Tortosa, or some on-site like pop-up spaces in weird places in the village, and then other areas for performances, like, for instance, the market place square, and that's more experimental, a hall, an auditorium, and you can have even a performance in the midst of a rice field. Of course, down in Terra del Ebre, there's a lot of rice fields. We have a collaboration with a center with the best of these editions. And we have the Euphonic Pro part of the festival that tries to focus on the professional side of the story, trainings, debates, discussions, and that's focusing on the performative digital art. So digital research, visual or sound-based, and we organize a different of workshops with these proposals that have been devised for the context, for the environment, for the Delta area, and we have an urban arm in Barcelona, Santa Monica Art Center in the city of Barcelona, gathering together different proposals stemming from our festival, but adapted to the urban sphere. The art center in the middle of the Ramblas in Barcelona, and when things don't work in the city anymore and they tour around the countries, well, in our case, it's the other way around. I hope you liked the video and that you enjoy the proposals. There's the link times in the chat box. So thanks to the Grec Festival for giving us the opportunity to mini present our proposal. Thank you. Thank you, Vicente. We'll meet on the occasion of Euphonic. We move now to the Vallès County with Marion, TNT Festival. Yes, hello, thank you. How are you? Thanks for the invite. I'm a bit nervous because I only have 5 minutes, so let me just go straight to the point. TNT is a living arts festival held in Terres, and the programming is focusing on new formats, performing languages, transdisciplinarity, this cross-cutting disciplines, and even going beyond the scenes. Here are some images, video of last year's edition. It's very much linked to its time-critical look, alert to the problems of the present reality. We hold it in October, 2025, different proposals, and also covering different areas in the city. It's our 14th edition. The festival was created by Pepla, and he was a director for 12 years, and under his umbrella, it's become a reference in the field of innovative performing arts. I was a director last year for the first time along the lines of the ideas and the method that Pep had created, but it's a new era now with new challenges on the table. And because of the pandemic, well, let's refer to this as a positive impact in this case, because some things that we take out of the pandemic, we have developed a program, accompaniment program for resident artists that started off last year, and we still continue with it. It's ongoing, so we will reach out to creators that want to develop a project with a research line that focuses on new languages, and the idea is to support them, to provide them with the resources so that they can do the research, also engaging with the community. Actually, we will present this year the resident artists for next year, and well, we just want to introduce them with small visual capsules. I'll show one after my presentation, just for you to see the tone of the festival. Since the topic here now is territory, one of the key aspects is precisely territory for us. For the resident artists, they propose different practices with the communities in the city, creation proposals that are more participatory, so establishing a direct dialogue with the community. There are other projects in the city of Terres. Terres is a big city, and it's quite centralized, so we try to connect with different districts, maybe in the outskirts of the city, broadening the programming to all the neighborhoods. And when it comes to programming, it is important for us to be consistent with clear-cut concepts, and this is cross-cutting, so that in every edition the discourse is a collectively built one, in connection with reality and with our territory. I want to show you now one of these audiovisual capsules that we created last year. Actually, the Vertebro group created it. They're from the south of Spain, from Andalusia, and they will premiere this year in October. Highly suggesting capsule with topics that are very much present in the festival, very powerful aesthetic, and we feel, well, it resonates with us, with the spirit of our festival. So let's watch it.
En 2019 decidimos parar, instalarnos en la
In
nada.
2019, we decided to stop, to set out.
No hemos presentado ni producido ningún espectáculo. Tampoco nos hemos visto de manera presencial y nuestros cuerpos no se han tocado. Ha sido puro recogimiento. Un tiempo suspendido en otro tiempo mayor. Una ofrenda a la no productividad. Es Notre Dame en llamas. La muerte se ha hecho hiperpresente y podemos imaginar de varias formas el fin de nuestros días. Sabemos que nuestra existencia en el mundo acabará pronto, pero en este momento histórico, en este cambio civilizatorio, ¿qué obra tenemos que hacer? Pensemos en el preámbulo de las elecciones generales del 2030. El suelo se ha movido para todas. Nadie desea optar a la presidencia. Un país sin gobierno. La tecnocracia del futuro alinea su algoritmo con la Declaración Universal de los Derechos Humanos. Y ante la posibilidad de realizar una última pieza, ¿qué pieza sería? Un futuro de preguntas, preguntas como semillas, una mutación del paisaje, una oportunidad de reconstrucción, una obra de arte que no es tal si no puede ser destruida y por tanto añorada, imaginada, fantasiada. No reconstruyamos Notre Dame. Honremos al bosque quemado y a la piedra oscura. Hagamos de sus ruinas un monumento punk, el último de un mundo que acaba y el primero de otro mundo que comienza. Notre Dame del Antropoceno ruega por nosotras. Notre Dame del capitalismo ruega por nosotras. Notre Dame del turismo ruega por nosotras. Notre Dame de la evasión fiscal ruega por nosotras. Notre Dame de la corrupción política ruega por nosotras. Notre Dame de la extinción ecológica ruega por nosotras. Barbechofloración es el nuevo proceso de investigación de vértebro en torno a los conceptos de autoexplotación, distopías y ecotecnologías. Varios encuentros a lo largo del 2020 y 2021 que darán lugar a nuestra próxima pieza, una coproducción de Terres Nuevas Tendencias, que se estrenará en octubre de 2021.
Bueno, muchas gracias por la
Thank you very
invitación,
much.
Marta.
Thanks for the invitation, Marta. Thank you very much, Marion, and see you at the TNT. Tárrega. Besides the Fira de Tárrega, we also have the Embarrat. Oh, yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Marta, and thank you, Greg, for turning your eyes towards the territory where lots of different things happen, and many of them are pretty interesting. First of all, I would like to apologize because Jesus Vilamayor is the director of the festival, but he is unable to be here because he is about to inaugurate another festival in Solsonès, Arrento. So, as I am the producer at Embarrat, I would like to present a very brief clip of our festival, and I will start with a brief presentation. It's a really very short video clip that is the ad for 2019, but that'll give you a brief idea of what Embarrat is. I'll tell you more later.
Doncs això és l'Embarrat. L'Embarrat és un festival de creació contemporània que passa tant.
This is Embarrat. It's a contemporary creative festival that happens in Tàrrega at the Trepat Museum, which is a very significant location. It was a factory for agricultural machinery, and the uniqueness of this venue, I think it has 19 warehouses, it has a foundry as it used to be before. You still breathe the work of the iron workers who were there. Well, Embarrat occupies all these venues with contemporary creation, and it takes advantage of the features of these venues. It's not a creation factory as such, but we bring creation into the factory, so it does not act as a creation factory. A lot has been said about that. They do exist. It could become one, but we are occupying this factory with contemporary art. The activities of Embarrat are mainly an exhibition, a collective exhibition. That's the axis of the festival, and all the festival is articulated around that exhibition with visual plastic arts, and it encompasses, for instance, installations, performances, some of them being interactive installations. This was done with a call for proposals where we had 15, 20 artists, some of them from abroad. Last year it had to be cancelled, of course, as you can imagine. This year it was run in late May. So you will find materials on the website to see this edition, which was some different, somehow different and a bit hybrid as well. And this year we reduced the number of artists taking part in Embarrat. There were 6 only. They brought their pieces to Caltrepat, to this venue. And besides the collective exhibition, which is, as I said, the axis for the festival, we also have a program of activities with stage arts, performing arts, discussions, conferences, and so on. Some years we've even run some audiovisual cycles, always around a specific topic, both for the exhibition and the parallel program. This year it was about a weak world. That was the topic, and we tried to relate it with something that is, I don't know, a social or historical topic. It's been, I don't know, progress, silence, many other topics have been chosen. What do we want? We would like artists to work with that venue, which is such a unique space, and the objective is to reduce by reducing the number of artists, and by simply commissioning the pieces to certain artists instead of doing a call for proposals. Well, maybe that was one step towards creating specific residences, programs in residence. We have a surprisingly cosmopolitan audience, very often people coming from Barcelona, because we believe that this is a more specialist kind of audience. One of the purposes we have is to open up to the general public, and for that we connect with local institutions such as Fira Tárrega or the Ondara Arts and Design School, which is in town, and it's a way to raise the profile of contemporary art among the general population. This is a brief summary of what Embarrat is. It is in the periphery. It's closely rooted down in reality, and it's addressed to the general audience. We don't have time to show you another video clip, so I invite you to watch it at our YouTube channel. It's a summary of this last edition. You will have discussions, performances, and other things. And of course, I invite you to travel around the different areas of Catalonia, because arts are very lively there, and lots of interesting things are being done all around Catalonia. That's all. If you have any questions, we'll be happy to answer. Thank you. Thank you so much, Montse. Thank you. If you go to Tárrega in September, remember that you will have the Embarrat warehouses. They are right in front of the Borges facilities, if I'm not mistaken, and then you can knock at their door, meet Montse, and pay her a nice, lovely visit. Salva, up to you now.
Cesc, com vulguis.
Cesc?
Sí, hola. Bueno,
you have the floor. Oh, I would like to open the floor and ask if anyone has any comments because the content is just outstanding. It's amazing. We know we can watch it, but I mean, this is life. This is life. So if anyone has the need to ask anything, to feel that there is someone behind these screens and these microphones, it'll be wonderful to hear your voices. If not, let me start by thanking the team behind these meetings. Marta, please help me not forget anyone in the gratitude. So I'll start with you and Salva. Please help me if I miss anyone. So Salva has been standing me all these days. I am really grateful for these not days but months of work behind this. Ivanov Hall, the Ivanov facility, they have always been nice, kind, and friendly. All the group of interpreters, I adore you. My parents in love are deaf, and I have been following you and understanding you. The language interpreters have also been fantastic, and the interpreters, thank you for this. Those who have been there, participants, viewers, those who are at home, those who would like to come, I also like to greet those who are in the different regions in the territories. It's fantastic of being able to see and to touch somehow so many different regions, plus the artists who brought these wonderful video clips, the Grec Festival, which is giving us the possibility of all of us meeting here. And hurrah, Africa! Africa is bringing the color this year. Well, there isn't much more I can add. Thank you very much to those who've been here. Thanks to those who have been and those who will be here. Send your links to your friends, families, and fools. And you can watch these shows online until the 31st of July. And well, let me say that meetings are only useful to get to know people and to exchange views. And I think we have got to know our territory better, what is going on nearby, but we also have some maps beyond to see who would like to become our friends and to create these bonds and to create a stronger fabric among all of us. And the idea is to keep on growing and growing stronger. We've come to the sad moment of closing the Grec Pro sessions. So for those who are here, let's go for a beer together. And those who are not here, we would like to invite you next year to come and enjoy the festival live. And please do invite us all, because we are also looking forward to visiting your festival. So that's about it. If anyone would like to say anything, please take the mic and say goodbye. Thank you.
Bona tarda. Buenas tardes.
Good afternoon. Maria. Good afternoon. Maria Lladó from Institut Ramon Llull. I've only been able to connect today and to join you for this session, but I would like to thank you for the fantastic effort you've made. We're all really tired of screens, but even if we don't see each other, despite this virus that keeps on mutating, I am aware that we still need the screens. I'm impressed by the number of participants. Let's keep on opening our gaze, extending our spectrum. You've done wonderfully. Thank you very much, and let's keep enjoying Greg. Thank you, Greg, meaning the Greg Festival. Thank you very much, Maria. Okay, so let's close the Greg Pro event. And as I said, thank you all. We'll keep on working to try and build a better world. Thank you.